So Mo, it's been so amazing to meet you and touch base with you because of course you are in the mental health space. So tell me a little bit about Mates in Construction and what you guys do.
Thank you very much, Maryka. It's been a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Great.
So what we provide as a non-for-profit charity is first and foremost education in the workplace.
Yes.
So it's all about prevention through education, and that education is targeting specifically having that conversation around suicide and suicide ideation.
Yeah.
In support of that, we also provide case management services.
Right.
So if a person is at risk and they've got a whole bunch of factors that are contributing to them, our case managers work with those individuals
Great.
and their families to unpack some of those factors and then connect them to various service providers within the community.
Great.
And overlaying all of that, of course, is our 24/7 helpline. And that helpline is providing services again. So hopefully bringing individuals down from a position of heightened level of anxiety, depression or other, and then connecting them through to our case management. So very similar to return to work, our case managers actually help people come back into the workforce and support them.
So important. And I guess it's that support that's key, isn't it? And bringing
Absolutely.
the families in. And
Absolutely.
I guess that's something I've been thinking about, and that's really important to me, is we want mental health services to not only be available for individuals, you know, you can go to the GP and get your sessions, but we want the family to be a part of that journey because they need to be in many of the cases.
Maryka, absolutely, absolutely. And the whole idea of building that community.
Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
the community within the construction industry, as is other industries, is very, very deep. Okay, so not only the community as an industry, but the community that we live in. So as we know, there are a number of different options for people.
Sure.
We're a very diverse,
we all do our
community,
part, don't we?
and we do. So keep an eye out for people. If their behaviour has changed and noticeably changed, not only ask them the question, but stand there and wait for the response.
Important.
Absolutely. There are a lot of unknowns, and in that cohort of 18 to 24-year-old, which is one of the higher risk demographics,
It is.
especially with boys, with men, they're not suitably equipped. They're not suitably equipped to understand how much of an impact the transition from secondary education to a workforce.
That's right.
And then you layer that with FIFO, where a large percentage of major construction projects occur. They're exposed to a whole number of other factors that will contribute.
Absolutely. And I think if we don't address it, it'll just get worse.
Absolutely.
And I think it also brings it to the broader discussion around family and what we're doing in our schools. You know, we're sort of bolstering these services at a corporate level, but even looking at a school level, well, how are we supporting student services? How are we supporting counsellors, psychologists, etc.? So it's so important because you hear it in the news, it's everywhere at the moment. Mental health is an issue, and yet it's probably one of the most underfunded areas. Yes, there's been some breakthrough in the last couple of months, but still not in those key areas, especially like you said in corporate settings or in something like construction. People don't want to talk about their feelings. What would they? Because, you know, it's almost frowned upon in that sense.
Well, look, it's a very difficult conversation to have. So there's a significant stigma attached to mental health, let alone to suicide and suicide ideation or the thoughts of. And that's why we as a charity focus on suicide prevention, because it's the end point. You know, people who suffer from anxiety, depression, etc., or any other diagnosed or undiagnosed condition can escalate very quickly over a period of time to a point where they are considering. In fact, 1 in 20 people in our Australian population will have thoughts of suicide within every 2-week cycle.
Oh, that's staggering.
It is. It's given the numbers of our population, we're talking about 1.4, 1.5 million people within a 2-week period. And that's not just a fixed 2-week, of course, that's a continuously moving 2-week period.
That's right.
So the whole idea of, first of all, educating, providing people with the understanding of what to look for is critical. And that's what we deliver in our training. And then upskilling individuals to what we refer to as our 2-day assist program. And that actually helps people to, using Safe Talk, which is a very specific tool, to actually talk individuals down from a situation. So by building that education awareness, we as individuals within the workforce and that broader community which we build are able to actually identify potential behaviours that, again, demonstrate people who are at risk. So it's one thing asking the question, hey mate, how you doing? Are you okay? But what happens when that person says to you, hey, I'm not okay. I'm not doing well.
Or what are the next steps?
Correct. What do we do as a community to support that?
That's right.
And dare I say, back to school, absolutely. The things that we are noticing is that individuals coming out of the school education programs into a workforce, when they're not prepared for that workforce, which construction traditionally, and it's changing, thank goodness, but traditionally is a very blokesy environment. It's a very hard environment. It's an environment that's predicated by projects on projects. So day in, day out, you don't necessarily know where your next gig comes from.
That's true.